Is there going to be a QB competition this summer between Drew Lock and Daniel Jones? We're going to break that down on today's show as you're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports, and I am your host, Marshall Green. Daniel Jeremiah of NFL Network says that Drew Lock has a good chance to be the starting quarterback for the Giants. We'll dive into that, but I want to hear from you first. Who do you want to be the Week 1 starter for Big Blue? Is it Daniel Jones? Is it Drew Lock? Type the initials of the guy you want to see under center in Week 1. Daniel Jeremiah said, I believe Drew Lock has a really good shot of winning the job when it comes to the starting quarterback for the Giants. Should it happen? Will it happen? We're going to break that down. But this is not the first time on this show or this offseason that we have heard that the Giants will have a quarterback competition coming up in minicamp, training camp, going into OTAs as well. I want to go back to a couple of months ago following the signing of Drew Lock in NFL free agency when the Seattle Seahawks General Manager John Schneider said this on Seattle Sports Radio 710 a.m. Quote, the Giants basically sold Lock on the opportunity to compete to be the starter, and Lock felt like it was the right opportunity. He looked at Baker Mayfield's opportunity last year and felt that this could be something similar for him if he signed with the New York Giants. Schneider said that on a radio appearance. Then Drew Lock was introduced as a member of the Giants. Then Joe Schoen spoke to the media and said, this is not true. Drew Lock is here to be the backup, and Daniel Jones is here to be the starter. But the phrase that he uses is, I think, really telling here. He keeps on saying it is the expectation that Daniel Jones will be the starter because it's the expectation that he'll be ready to play when it comes to his ACL injury. And it's the expectation that he would beat Drew Lock out in a competition. But things can change, and I think things will change because the Giants are not sold on Daniel Jones whatsoever. And we saw that in round 1 of the NFL draft this past Thursday when they tried to move up 3 slots to select Drake May. Reports have now come out that the Giants made multiple offers to the Patriots to try to move up to select May, including involving pick number 6, pick number 47, and a 2025 first-round pick. But it goes a little bit deeper than that as well. Jeremiah also said this. The Giants were comparing Daniel Jones and Drew Lock, emphasis on Drew Lock, to the other quarterbacks that were going to be there in the draft. And I think that the line for them was Drake May. So not only did the Giants try to trade up in the NFL draft and select the next franchise quarterback, but when they were talking about J.J. McCarthy, or Michael Penix, or Bo Nix, or Spencer Rattler, they were comparing those pro-draft prospects to not just Daniel Jones, but also Drew Lock. I think it's pretty safe to say that the Giants are not sold on Daniel Jones. And how could you be after the product that he put out on the field this year in the 6 games he played before having that season-ending ACL injury? He completed 67.5% of his passes. I'm cool with that. But only 900 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. And on top of that, Daniel Jones has an injury guarantee of $23 million for the 2025 season, meaning if he gets hurt in the 2024 year and he's unable to clear a physical in the spring of 2025, his contract becomes guaranteed for an additional $23 million, the 20 he's owed and the 23 for the injury guarantee. So the Giants know that Daniel Jones has a major injury problem. That's why he worked that into his contract. And he has missed games every single year of his career. He missed 11 games in 2023. He missed 1 game in 2022. It was the Week 18 game where the Giants already clinched their playoff spot, but he had been dealing with an ankle injury, so they gave him a weekend off. He missed 6 games in 2021, 2 games in 2020, and 2 games in 2019 due to injury. So with the injury problems, with the injury guarantee in his contract, the Giants are going to have to make a decision if they want to roll the dice for another year of Daniel Jones. And even the biggest Daniel Jones believer, even the biggest DJ fans have to be concerned about his injury history going forward. He's had not 1, but 2 major neck injuries that have caused him to miss multiple games. He is now coming off a torn ACL. Even if you believe that he is the best quarterback in the world, you have to be worried about his durability and his availability going forward as a franchise quarterback. But the question is, should he be benched for Drew Lock? Should there be a competition? We'll break that down around the corner. We will compare stats from Lock in Jones, and I will give you my decision on if there should be a competition and who the starter should be. But I got to make sure everybody watching today's show is subscribed to the channel. We put out free, informative, entertaining coverage every single day on your New York Giants. So if you're looking for a one-stop shop on YouTube, subscribe to the channel right now. My overarching take when it comes to Jones and Locke is there 100% should be a quarterback competition this summer. What has Daniel Jones done to prove that he should just be gift-wrapped a job and no matter what happens in the summer will be the starting quarterback in week 1? I don't think he's earned that right through 5 seasons on the football field. But is he even going to be healthy? Remember, he tore that ACL back in week 9, and that would be a pretty quick recovery time for Jones, injured in week 9, did not have surgery till a couple of weeks later to be ready to go in week 1. Let's take a look at some other quarterbacks that tore their ACL and when they came back. Kyler Murray in 2022 tore his in week 14. He didn't return until week 10 of 2023. Almost an 11-month recovery time. Joe Burrow, a very similar timetable as Daniel Jones, got hurt in week 11 in 2020. He was ready to go the following week 1 in 2021. Jimmy Garoppolo needed an entire 365 days, got hurt in week 3, didn't return until week 1. Deshaun Watson, very similar timetable as Burrow, as well as Jones, got hurt in week 9 and was ready to go in week 1. So if everything goes according to plan, and if he continues to stay on top of his rehab, then maybe he could be ready to go week 1. But Locke should get work with this first offense this summer. Because 1, we don't know if Jones is going to be ready to go. And 2, he's not going to be a full participant at OTAs, training camps, and mini camps. So Jones and Locke should be at least both getting reps when it comes to being under center with that first team offense. And also, if you talk about the coach for the Giants, Brian Daboll, and what he wants to do on the football field schematically and how he wants to move the football, he fits exactly. That aligns with what Drew Lock wants to do. Is Drew Lock a good quarterback? Has not proven that. Is he someone that's going to elevate this team to a playoff team? No. But how the Giants want to move the ball on offense, the big arm Lock fits in a lot more smoothly with that compared to the very conservative Daniel Jones. We'll compare stats with both of these players that I think really paint the picture for that type of opinion. But if you want to get hooked up with a brand new Malik Neighbors jersey, go to chatsports.com/neighbors. He has not chosen his number yet, so the number 1 will be the one that our site shows. He cannot wear number 1, though, as it is retired. If you want that to show up for week 1, though, go to chatsports.com/neighbors. Get your new Malik Neighbors jersey. You look at some career stats between Jones and Locke. Let's start at the top and work our way down. Big time throw percentage. This is a stat calculated by Pro Football Focus. How often you make a big time throw. Daniel Jones does it just 3% of his throws, whereas Drew Lock does it at a 5% clip. What about average depth of target? How far are you pushing the ball down the field when you decide to let it rip? Drew Lock, 9.2 yards. Daniel Jones, 7.5. Turnover-worthy play percentage. Obviously, Drew Lock throws the ball down the field further and takes more risks and makes big-time throws, turns it over at a little bit higher of a clip, 4.3% for him and 3.7% for Jones. The adjusted completion percentage, the needle also points the way of Jones, 75.7% there and 70.3% from Locke. But it's this last stat that I really want to take a look at. We've talked about how Locke likes to push the ball down the field a little bit more, but I also think he has better feel in the pocket as well. And I think that's represented here when you look at the pressure to sack percentage compared to the time to throw. Daniel Jones actually has more time to throw on average throughout his career than Drew Lock does. 2.8 seconds for Jones, about 2.79 for Locke. So close, but the needle still goes a little bit into Daniel Jones's favor. But with more time, his average pressures turn to sacks is much higher. His pressure to sack percentage is 19.9% for Daniel Jones compared to just 13.2% for Locke. So Locke, in less time, finds a way to really get out of the pocket and get rid of the ball quicker when pressure in his face, does not take sacks. I think that's a skill. As we know, Jones takes a lot of sacks. And you know what? Giants' offensive line hasn't been really good, but I would rather a quarterback knowing how to get rid of the ball quicker and avoid sacks play under my center for 17 weeks a year. Locke wants to push it downfield. Locke wants to take chances. And you've seen that through his career that has been up and more so probably down. 27 touchdowns as a starter, 20 interceptions. He's 9-14 in the 23 games that he has started, completing 60% of his passes. And you look at the two games with a little bit of a bigger lens on them. Started 2 games this year for the Seattle Seahawks. He got a win against the Philadelphia Eagles where he led an 80-yard game-winning drive late in that fourth quarter, had that game-winning touchdown to Jackson Smith-Njigba on the right sideline. And then against the 49ers, they did lose 28-16. But in that game against the Eagles, I thought Locke played really well. Completed 22 of his 33 passes, had 206 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and he was pressured on a lot of his throws. Had just an average time to throw of 2.29 seconds, had 2 drops, and he was also sacked 2 times. So even under pressure against a fierce Philadelphia Eagles defensive line, he was able to hang in the pocket and make some big throws. The point I'm trying to show is that they are much different quarterback. Jones wants to take what's in front of him. He likes to take the check down, and he really, in my opinion, misses a lot of people downfield. Doesn't want to take chances. Not Drew Lock. He's going to let it fly. He's going to sling the ball. He's going to take chances in one-on-one type of plays. I think Drew Lock can do some things better than Daniel Jones, where I also think Jones does better things than Lock. And I don't want to discount what Jones did in that playoff win against the Minnesota Vikings, where he completed 24 of 35, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 78 rushing yards, went on the road into a hostile environment in Minnesota and won a playoff game, and became the first player in NFL history with 300-plus passing yards, 2-plus passing TDs, and 70-plus rushing yards in a playoff game. I don't want to discount that, but I also can't just erase my mind of what happened last year, even prior to the injury. He was horrible against the Cowboys. He had a horrible interception against the Seattle Seahawks. It took a late-game heroic in Week 2 to beat the Arizona Cardinals. Let there be a competition, and let the best guy play. Let the best dude play. The Giants still have a major question mark at QB going forward. Whether if it's Jones this year or if it's Locke, there is still a need for a franchise quarterback. And remember, the Giants can move off of Daniel Jones following this season. You want to take a look. This is his contract for 2025. If he is cut following the 2024 season, the Giants would save $19.3 million. If he is on the roster for 2025, he would have a cap hit of $41.6 million. So keeping this in mind, that he would cost the Giants $41.5 million if they keep him, or $19.3 million in savings if they cut him, my question to end today's show is this. What does Daniel Jones need to do as the quarterback for Big Blue this year to not be cut? Does he have to make the playoffs? Does he have to win a playoff game? Does he have to win multiple playoff games? Does he have to put up a certain amount of stats? What does DJ need to do to not be cut after this season? Let me know in the comment section, and make sure you are following me over on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram at @MarshallGreen_. I'm posting about Big Blue all the time. So hit me up over there, and we'll see you later.